Hello students, myself Ms. Prachi Verenekar, Assistant Professor, Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Sankalim, Goa. The name of the module is Vegetative and Asexual Reproduction in Terrace. In this module, we will be studying about vegetative and asexual reproduction of terrace. At the end of the module, you will be able to explain the vegetative and asexual reproduction in terrace. You will be able to describe the structure of sporangium in terrace. You will also be able to explain the process of dehiscence of sporangium and dispersal of spores in terrace. Moving on to the first one, that is vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction in terrace usually takes place by means of fragmentation. The older parts of the rhizome rot and rotting reaches a dichotomy or branching regions. The two branches separates and carries on growth as separate plants. The next type of reproduction is asexual. Asexual reproduction in terrace takes place by means of spores formation. It is heterosporous plant which bears only one type of spore and is produced in a sac-like structure called as sporangia. The sporangia form continuous sorus known as cenosorus. Cenosorus are borne on margins connecting veins of fertile pinnules and is protected by upper false indusium formed by the incurved margins of the pinnae. Sorus is of mixed type. Sterile hairs are also present in between the sporangia. This is the diagram of structure of leaf passing through sorus, in which we can see the different developmental stages of different sporangia and sterile hairs also are present. Moving on to the next, that is structure of sporangium. Sporangium is usually made up of a stalk or pedicel and capsule or body. As you can see in the diagram, the lower portion is denoted as stalk and the upper oval portion is the capsule of the sporangium. Let us talk about stalk. It is a long, slender, multicellular and three-celled in height. It bears water gland. Next is the capsule or the body. It is oval and of biconvex shape. The sporangial wall or jacket is single layered and modified to form annulus and stomium. Let us talk in detail about the annulus. It is a vertical rows of 16 thick-walled large cells which forms an incomplete ring around the sporangium and covers around 2/3 of the capsule. As you can see in the diagram, the 2/3 portion of the capsule is covered by annulus. The annulus has thick inner tangential and radial walls and thin outer and side walls. It becomes hygroscopic in mature sporangium. When the annulus matures, it has the ability to absorb moisture. It becomes hygroscopic in mature sporangium. When the sporangium matures, annulus has the ability to absorb moisture. The next is stomium. It is a small group of long, flat and thin-walled cells immediately below the annulus in remaining portion, that is the 1/3 portion of the capsule on one side, as you can see it in the diagram. Two narrow and radially elongated cells are present in stomium region and are called the lip cells. The next is dehiscence of sporangium. It occurs in dry weather. At maturity, both annulus and stomium brings about the dehiscence of sporangium and dispersal of the spores. The annulus acts as a spring and the stomium acts as a point of cleavage. The dispersal of spores takes place in two stages. In the first stage, the sporangium breaks open the stomium. The mature dry sporangium loses water throughout its surface. This causes inward contraction of the annulus in outer walls. This results in rupture of sporangium or a split along the cells of stomium. The annulus slowly straightens out and gradually bends backward as attached with the axis. This is seen in the diagram very clearly. The annulus carries upper half of the capsule containing the exposed spores. The total number of spores varies from 30 to 64 which are dispersed. In the second stage, the annulus works like a spring which returns to its original position after throwing out the spores with a jerk into the air forcibly. In the diagram shown, you can see that after dispersal of the spore, the annulus retains or gains back its original shape and looks similar to that of the mature sporangium. The next is the structure of spore. The spores are tetrahedral in shape. The spore wall is two-layered. The first is the exine and the other is the intine. Exine is also called as exosporium. Exine is actually the outermost thick walled structure which is smooth and brown colored. Intine is also called as endosporium and it is the innermost thin layered structure. The next is the germination of the spore. The spores germinate depending on environmental conditions. It germinates to produce the prothallus under favorable condition. The intine emerges out in the form of a small germ tube along with enclosed contents on rupturing of exine in the beginning of the germination. Further, it undergoes several divisions to form a new prothallus. This is the diagram of a new prothallus which is formed. The prothallus is monoecious. The prothallus is monoecious because it is developed from the homospore. When the prothallus matures, it bears antheridia, which is the male sex organ, and these antheridias are usually embedded in between the rhizoids. The antheridias are usually located in the posterior region. The next is the archegonia, that is the female sex organ which is present just below the apical notch in case of the prothallus of Pteris. These are the references which I have used for the module.